This is Happy Monkey.
This is Happy Monkey.
Happy Monkey. Happy Monkey.
This is Happy Monkey.
Hello, no one is available to take your call. Please leave a message after the tone.
What's good, Happy Monkey? It's Declan here. I'm a big fan and lover of Happy Monkey. I am loving the super glue right now. I just want to shout you guys out and wish you all a happy, have a good day. So.
What's going on, everybody? This week, the podcast has a sponsor, ArdentCannabis.com. They're known for the Ardent Nova, which is a decarber, but now they have a new Ardent where they decarb and infuse in the same device. So if you use our code MONKEY, MUNKEY, when you're checking out, you get $30 off your purchase. So please go on and check them out. They got a bunch of other devices. Hey, you might get lucky and find something that'll help you cook in your kitchen. Welcome to the Happy Monkey Podcast. As you see, Ramon and Vlad are not with me here today. I am Raphael, or as some of y'all have heard me on the podcast as my nigga Ralph. I'm usually on the front or the end, but today, as a New Year thing, I thought I'd bring to you a couple clips that are close to my heart. The first clip we got today is Ramon and Vlad talking about how Happy Monkey actually started. The inception of the idea started in Ramon going to Amsterdam. And, well, technically I'm the first employee of Happy Monkey on paper. It's kind of cool to see how a party that one of the guys went to turned into something that I've been working on for 3 years. So I just wanted to share this with you and see what you guys think about how the Happy Monkey podcast started and how the whole vibe and like us curating the Happy Monkey experience across the United States started. It started from Amsterdam trip that Ramon took. And here, check out this clip.
So let's talk about how we came up with this whole Happy Monkey thing. Tell them about your trip to Amsterdam and how this really changed the narrative and your perspective on the cannabis lifestyle and industry. Right. So obviously, me and you, we know each other for a long time. We got a long history. We didn't really start building a real friendship to I would say the last 6 years, right?
Yeah.
6-7 years.
Yeah.
That's when we really, So I was in the last 3 years ago, I went to Amsterdam. I took a Europe trip and we ended up in Amsterdam for a couple of days. And I walked around a little bit and I jumped into some cafes like a stoner person should do. It's Amsterdam, you know what I'm saying? So I walked into a cafe. It was called Blue Dolphins or the Dolphins, some shit like that. And you walk in and the shit looked like the ocean. The shit got jellyfish on the wall, blue everywhere. It really, really looked like the ocean. Like they went in, you know what I mean? And you walk into the bar and I'm kind of, I'm out of, for those who don't know us, out of the two, the more introvert is me, you know what I mean?
Yes.
So I walk in there, I'm by myself. And
You got to sink or swim now, baby. I'm not there to save you.
Yeah. No, we here, baby. We in the bed. So I walk into the bar, basically I see them, they offer me a menu. I get weed, I'm fucking blown out my mind, but I'm keeping my New York cool. You know what I mean? Because, I'm walking into a place where
Try to act like you're not super overwhelmed and super surprised like this exists.
I'm trying to act like an adult because I'm walking in and it smells like weed and I'm like, oh my God, they smoking, they don't give a fuck. I'm like, what's going on? Nobody cares. And I'm like, all right, okay. They gave me the menu and I'm like, all right, I see different types of hazes. They had different types of haze. They had like silver haze, original haze, New York haze, and then diesel, and like weird little cushions and like all this shit. I'm like, all right, give me whatever. I'm like, give me some of this, some of that, some of this. They saw that I smoked in tobacco. Well, first of all, I got cool with the manager. The manager saw that I was from New York, so he was like, oh, New York, a little Arabic cool. I got cool with him. He saw that I smoked in tobacco. He sent me downstairs. Downstairs is more like a lounge setting, right? So in the lounge setting, I had to sit in these couches where it was like, square shit, like in New York, like, you got your own section type situation. And I'm sitting there, I'm taking up the whole couches, and I had to move to another section because there was another group coming. So I had to move and sit with these two young men. These two young men was probably from Italy, 19, 20-year-olds.
I want to know who broke the ice and who started talking to who, because I know you're not the outgoing type. How did that play out?
Nah, that basically I had to kind of say what's up because they're, like I said, they're young men. I'm a little bit older, so I was polite and I said what's up. I saw how they were smoking. They saw how I was smoking, so it kind of like we started talking.
Like organic,
real quick.
natural.
Yeah, it was organic, nothing forced, So
That peace pipe brings
that
the
peace pipe,
brings all the guards
that
down.
shit was quick. Yeah, that shit was quick. Nobody really had to force anything. I spoke to them for a little while, then another couple joined us. They were from they were maybe from England, and then this other interesting couple who were from Iraq, ironically. And I'm like, you guys smoke weed? And she was actually like the one who spoke like 7 languages. He didn't speak any. He looked like he was from Brooklyn. I would have thought he was from Brooklyn or something like that. But she spoke like 7 languages, and she was like super outspoken and very intelligent young lady. And I got to speak with all these people from like different parts of the world. Mind you, I'm a nigga, like I said, we just said, I'm from 156, 57th Street in Broadway. You know what I mean?
Like culture shock to the max.
My mother and father immigrants.
This is like ultra culture shock.
Ultra culture shock, and I'm smoking weed. Again, all this is going through my mind. Crazy. So I'm like, damn, I need this feeling back home. Because I know there's a lot of people just like me in New York who need this feeling and just need this sort of I don't know, I would say like some sort of like space in your mind and like your soul to feel it. So I figure when I get back home, how do we create this and how do we exploit, not exploit, but maybe tell the rest of the world what's going on in New York as far as cannabis culture? How do we wrap that in? So again, me and you, we had to stay in the shadows, so we had to kind of call it something. So I kind of figured Happy Monkey. Why Happy Monkey? I've always been into monkeys, and sometimes when people think of alter egos, right? A lot of people think of like villains when they think of their alter ego. I wasn't thinking of my villain because we already come from villain. We already come from that. So I was thinking uplifting alter ego that'll bring everybody together. And you won't even
Which is a hard feat in New York with the anti-social and the aggressiveness. You have to have these things in mind.
Exactly. So it's something together. Right. It's something zen, it's something happy, and it's something like how do I get these people to feel that? And it just came to me, and once it came to me, pretty much attacked you with that.
So you can imagine, ladies and gentlemen, when you come tell me this, I can't picture this, but I'm like, damn, you know what I mean? You seem so passionate and so touched about it. I'm like, this could work, you know what I mean? And, I'm still like have my doubts, but I'm like, you know what? We have everything to gain, nothing to lose. Let's, try to take this journey. And the shit just ended up going from one to another. And then we started going to meetings and we started doing this. And we just noticed that there wasn't a voice for the East Coast and for New York in the cannabis industry.
So that was the Happy Monkey Inception clip, but as you heard, it started as just friends getting together, and I would say I wasn't at the first party, but I definitely started coming along like 2-3 months later on, and then I ended up helping out. So it's kind of cool to be a part of something that's grown into just more than a party in the city, into a vibe across the United States. But going off of that, talking about a vibe that has been trending throughout the entire 2020. We had Hawk Newsome on early in the year before anything that happened with George Floyd or Sandra Bland. So it was kind of cool to have the perspective before all the protesting and rioting happened in the city. And just to hear the perspective of somebody that is strictly about the protesting and fighting for the equality of people of color, like myself, Ramon, and Vlad, and most of the Happy Monkey crew. So if you wouldn't mind, just take a look at this awesome piece from Hawk Newsom, and shout out to Black Lives Matter because they're putting it down in the city and representing this company and other companies like us of color.
Right on.
Absolutely. So I'm gonna just kick it off with a real simple, maybe a question that people probably ask and they don't know. And I'm curious, why name it Black Lives Matter? Why not call it Negro Lives Matter? Why not call it Color People Lives Matter? Why not call it All Lives Matter?
Yeah.
You know, why not call it I don't know, Minorities Lives Matter? You know, why black?
It's amazing how this came about. It was three sisters, right? And one of which wrote a letter to black people around the time of the Trayvon Martin thing, and George Zimmerman got away with killing that kid,
Yeah,
right?
he murdered
Everybody knows the story.
Yeah.
And at the end of this beautiful letter, one of them hashtag Black Lives Matter, right? And then it just started growing, and it grew from there to here to, you're down in Ferguson, you're protesting, you're here for Eric Gardner, you're protesting. So it just, it morphed into this amazing movement. And what's really interesting is my ability to flip this back on everyone who would say, well, why call it Black Lives Matter? But you have Jewish organizations like the Anti-Defamation League, Jewish Federation. These are people fighting for Jewish people, right?
So they do the same thing you do, just a different name. They
That's
call it.
it.
Different. Yeah, right.
But I'm all about making people uncomfortable, right? Because growth comes
It's
with being
Absolutely.
uncomfortable,
It's a
right?
necessity.
So this institution called white supremacy, which pretty much oppresses people who are of color, it oppresses women. And what it does is it puts white men at the top of this hierarchy, right? This patriarchy. And anyone who is not like them, they have a problem. And a lot of people are like, oh, Hawk, you're causing division. No, I'm just speaking the truth. You know what I'm saying?
A spade.
That's it, right? Double entendre. But but the fact of the matter is, it's the truth. Like if you throw a brick into a pig pen, it's the one that squeals that got hit. You know what I mean?
Basically.
So if you're not this greedy person who's out to oppress people who are not like you, then why would me saying that bother you? Right?
It's like that shoe fit. Only if the shoe fits, you wear it.
That's it.
And if you're wearing it, it's because it fits you.
That's it. So, Black Lives Matter is exactly what it is. America has never done right by black people. And it's time that changes. So we are here saying Black Lives Matter. Now, do we fight for other people? The first protest in New York, when Trump started the immigration raids, right? This affected the Latinx community. This affected our Muslim brothers and sisters. I was on the front lines, okay, leading a march.
All the oppressed people.
Exactly, and I use that term loosely. I wasn't leading. I wasn't a chief organizer, but I was present, and the police targeted me.
You're ready to support anybody that's being oppressed.
That's it. Right? Like that's it. So I was harmed during that march, and actually have a lawsuit going against the city of New York because of the way they treated me. But the bottom line is I'm putting my life on the line for everybody. But my focus is black people, right? You got a neurosurgeon.
Right.
And he's a brain surgeon, but somebody falls out in the street, he's going to try and help because he has a wealth of knowledge, and that's just what it is.
Basically. Well said, my brother. We want to get into, I've been doing a little due diligence and watching myself. This show that you're involved with, Cop Watch on BET, can you elaborate a little bit on it and what's the whole concept and what it's about?
Wow. Okay, so Cop Watch America is a docuseries, right? If you look at it, it kind of looks like a reality show sometimes. But it's a docuseries that shows us in our activism and also monitoring the police. A lot of people don't understand one of the strongest weapons you have against police brutality is your cell phone. Right now. So if they're,
and you're rightfully so to use it.
That's it. So if they're mistreating somebody, you pull out your cell phone, you start recording. That's how we got Eric Gardner, right?
Yeah.
That's how Oscar Grant out in California, like when he was shot in the train station, Fruitville Station.
Yes,
That's how Michael
yes.
B. Jordan got put on the map,
Yes, sir.
right? And you pull out your cell phone and it changes their behavior. And that's anybody. That's black people, that's white people, that's Latinx people.
Anybody,
Anyone
yeah.
who pulls out their cell phone, if the cop has the presence of mind, he's going to slow down. And that's helpful. That might save a life.
Because these things have been going on for a long time, but only now, because of technology, are they coming to fruition and to the light for the world to see.
Think back, right? When they recorded Rodney King being beat, that lit Los Angeles on fire. Literally. Because everybody knew it was happening, but wait. Oh my God, it's right there. It's on my TV screen.
Exactly.
It's in my face. So I applaud BET for taking this chance to show our activism, but to pull the curtain back and show me with my autistic son, right? Show me with my little 2-year-old daughter. Show another single mother on the show with 3 kids who's running around fighting for our people daily. Like, you get to see, like, okay, they're not crazy.
Yeah, you guys are human
revolutionary-
beings. You're not just running around being this, like...
Exactly.
This, of course, you're Hawk. You know what I mean? I'm sorry, but you're named after a superhero. My
Hey.
brother, you know what I mean? And you're a big black brother. You know what I mean? So there's a lot of comparison when it comes to that. So you're a strong superhero type. You know what I'm saying? But people need to understand that the superhero has a family. You know what I mean? So I'm glad that that
and it's something. A lot of people don't see me as vulnerable. Because I'm 6'5", I'm 290 on a good day, you know, and I'm always screaming, I'm always yelling, I'm facing down politicians, fighting for rights, pushing legislation. I'm standing up to the cops and saying, no, you're wrong, you're not doing this anymore. Things that average people don't necessarily have the courage to do. I do that, so people look at me like, okay, he's Hulk, but they don't understand how I be stressed out. You know what it's like to wake up, right?
Yeah,
you wake up in the morning, everybody and their mother challenge you on social media. Oh, this one, that one, like what? And then you wake up. Man, listen, what did he say? First the fat boys break up, and every day I wake up, somebody got something to say.
You know what's the other part that is very important for everybody out there on the boulevard and HappyMunkey world to know? It's obvious your physical attributes, right? But a lot of people don't know your brain power, how you're paralegal, how you have law all year. Can you tell people, elaborate on everybody about your extensive knowledge
you're not
and
just
intellect?
this wild big black brother running around in the street.
That's the part that people need to know.
Yeah, and going back, tying it back to the show, this is what people get to say now. Now, I am, I guess, I'm trained as a lawyer. I went to Toro Law School. I went to Howard University School of Law.
Shout out to Howard.
Right? Shout out to HU, you know. And a lot of people don't know that, and I don't wear it on my sleeve, right? So I'll sit down to a debate, or somebody will challenge me, and they don't understand that I'm
You're equipped.
I'm built for this shit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I'm ready to back what I'm saying with laws, with legislation. So that's it's truly an honor. And what people don't realize is I dropped out of high school, right? So I have a GED. I always joke and call it a good enough degree, right? I have a good enough degree, and I also have this Juris Doctorate degree. And it's I always say that people like us, like everybody in this room, we are twice as smart as the successful American, right, who is not our color, so to speak, who didn't have our background, because we have to learn how to survive in the streets. We have to learn how to overcome and endure poverty and all the mental stress that comes along with it, all the physical stress. And then we have to learn how to function in this world that is nothing like the world we grew up in. So so I'm blessed. Like,
not only that, we gotta succeed like twice. You know what I mean? Like you gotta be a super straight A student, to stand out in all these things. Right?
Absolutely.
So you gotta go extra hard.
Man, you don't understand.
You gotta survive in the jungle, in the garden, and in the forest.
Right on.
Pretty much.
Oh, that's heavy. That's heavy. That's heavy. Yeah,
Yeah, you know, my man is the street poet here. We
For
got my
real.
man, the street poet.
He
So,
like
you know.
Harlem Socrates.
Yeah, there you go. I like that one.
So, Hawk, because you know, of course, what the show is about, so we need to ask you, of course, a little bit about your extensive, you know, what your encounter and what your experience and relationship has been with cannabis during Hawk's journey on this earth.
Yeah, so what's the first time you got high? Did you ever get high?
Oh,
Or did
man.
You ever, you know,
I used to
let
get
us know.
higher than a giraffe's uterus. Yeah. Oh, wow. So, I guess the first time I knew that I wanted to smoke weed, my dad was an avid chess player, and all his friends would come to the house and they'd roll joints.
Okay,
They'd
so
roll...
the smarts come from Daddy O, huh?
Oh, right
Daddy
on.
smart. All
Yeah,
right, all right.
that's a fact.
Okay.
So they would roll up and they would roll up out of those little yellow envelopes, and back then it was reefer.
Yeah,
reefer. Yeah, it was reefer. So I used to always smell it, and then as I got older, I just started seeing all these insides of cigars in the neighborhood, and I'm like, Phillies. What's all this talk about Phillies? So you know, I'm getting interested, and then Dr. Dre dropped the Chronic. Right? Right? And then it's like, what? It's like weed culture, and at the same time, Illmatic came out.
Oh, man,
so
yeah,
it was,
so it was
oh
a
my
lot,
God.
yeah.
So it's like, okay, I'm getting high.
All right, so the next clip we got on is Shice Bubs. Now, he is somebody that comes from our hometown or our neighborhood, which is Washington Heights, Hamilton Heights area. I personally am from 151st and Broadway, but Shice is from 157, 156, and Ramon has lived there all his life. So he has a deep connection with Shice, and same with Vladimir. He also grew up with Shice. So to hear where Shice took his smoker attitude and his music into a vibe as well, a curating of a weed experience from New York with the Smokers Club. It's kind of cool to see how these three giants met up later in life and now have something similar. They've curated such a close vibe to marijuana, and it's been a lifelong journey for them. So check out Shice talking about his first time smoking, and yeah.
Tell me when you first started like Smokers Club, like what you know, how did that come up? Like,
shit, that was crazy because that was like you know, like the Smokers Club, really, like that was like something, I guess, when I first started smoking, like it ended up being anyway, like a club, like, you know, because since I was young, I always had my own crib. Me and my mans, we always had our own cribs, you know what I'm saying? So we would always have the gang hanging out, you know what I'm saying? And years later, you know, after doing music and all that, and hanging out with my new friends, you know what I'm saying?
yeah,
That the real stoner niggas that like really get high and shit, you know, we sitting there, you know what I'm saying? And niggas came up with the Smokers Club, and I was like, that was kind of clever, you know what I'm saying? Like, you know, and not just on some like the Smokers Club, like we hanging out, like on some, let's take it to the next level and make like a festival out this shit. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that was big, which
you know?
is big now.
And it was a conversation. I wasn't actually there for that conversation. You know what I'm saying? It was like my friends having that conversation. You dig what I'm saying?
Right.
And when I got wind of it, I was like, that's pretty dope. It is time to take this shit out the hood and out the crib and out wherever we hanging out at and bring this shit to the world. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
That's so true, and nobody was even thinking like that back then.
Nah.
Yeah.
So before we even move forward, because we went ahead and went crazy, because you know this is how we do. I really want to, like, we always ask people here before we get crazy, is pretty much, can you give us your first experience of pretty much getting high? Like, what was the weed? Was it a joint? Was it a blunt? Was it uptown? Give us the whole scenery. Was it, you know, what era was it? Give us the whole shit.
Well, my shit was, the first blunt I smoked was it was like 89.
89.
So it was like you know, saying 89 is like, that shit is like the dinosaur ages right now. You know what I'm saying? You feel me though? Like 89, niggas was born in 89. Like niggas that's lit, old niggas. Like old niggas that's lit was born in 89. You feel me? But that was like the first year I smoked a blunt. You know what I'm saying? I was like in high school, just got out of high school, freshman type shit. And before that, you know, I was an athlete and shit. You know what I'm saying? I played all sports.
He was an athlete.
I played all sports, man.
Okay,
you know what I'm saying?
So you wasn't this like lazy stoner. You was rocking.
Yeah, I mean, I was an athlete first before I ever fucked with weed. Like, you know what I'm saying? I was on some anti-drug shit at first. You know what I'm saying? Growing up, I was like, man, fuck drugs. You know what I'm saying? I had jobs too. You know, I was a young working kid. Like, my father's from Trinidad, so you know, my mother's from Louisiana. So I had this work. Yeah, I had this work ethic.
I remember when you had the fawns going on
You
back
know
in
what I
the
mean?
day. You had the joint. I remember, my
You know what I'm
brother.
saying? So it was high school, and you know, the first part about smoking was that, you know, I was a fast kid. I was smoking cigarettes and shit since I was like 7 years old, 8 years old.
So that
I was one of those bad kids, like good around the parents and shit and adults, but with the kids,
yeah, with your age,
I'm ruthless. Like
yeah.
smoking cigarettes, cursing. You know what I'm saying? So I was always like, and my pop smoked weed. You know what I'm saying? And I always knew that smell. So I was like, all right, he be smoking the shit in the white paper. But then I started seeing, you know what I'm saying, seeing motherfuckers smoke the brown cigarette shit. I'm like, yo, that shit look fly. That shit stink too. I'm like, yo, what is that? Where you get that shit from?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not gonna lie, I was fast. I was a fast kid, man. I had fake ID at like 11 years old, man. You know, remember 42nd Street? You could go just go down
Absolutely.
there.
You could
Get
just
ID,
get the picture. Yeah.
So like to the rest of the world, I guess that's like some other shit. Cause it was like,
Yeah, that
New
was
York,
crazy. Yeah, you
we
could go.
advanced. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Fast.
Yes. Yeah. Very
dig?
fast. Yeah.
Growing up fast.
Yeah.
So I was like, I would go to the store and buy bamboo papers.
Bamboo.
And I buy the Easy Water, right?
Easy
I
wide.
don't know, before Raw and Vibes, it was
Yeah.
Bamboo and Easy
Easy
Wider.
Widers.
Right? And I'd be like, yo, I'll take the cigarette and I'll try to roll the shit to learn how to roll the papers and shit. So I was like, all right, I want to smoke weed now. I want to try this shit. So I told my man, I was like, yo, you smoke weed? He was like, yeah. I was like, you know where to get it from? He was like, yeah, nigga. I was like, take me after school. He was like, all right. Took me after school. He took me to the smoke spot right there on 135th between on Amsterdam.
135th Amsterdam.
Between 135th and 134th, Megatron.
Megatron.
I don't know if y'all niggas remember that shit.
Megatron.
Megatron. You know what I'm saying? Nickel bag, right?
Nickel bag of Megatron. That's hilarious.
So
That's crazy.
we cop this shit. We go to the park. I'm like, yo. This before we go to the park. I'm like, yo, I gotta ask you something. I'm like, I don't want to smoke the shit in no white papers though, man. I'm like, you smoke the brown papers? He's like, the brown papers?
What's that?
You mean the blunt? I'm like,
Yeah.
Whatever that shit is.
yeah. I'm like, yo, where you get that shit from? This nigga laughed at me for like 15 minutes, like, cause you know I was a know-it-all nigga. So he was like, "You don't know? You don't know? How you don't know?" I'm like, "I don't know shit, man. Take me to the store." So we went, and he bought the cigar, and I still was like,
Fuck you gonna do with that?
"You
Yeah.
gonna do with the cigar? We smoking a cigar?" I'm confused. And he bust the shit open, and when he dumped the guts, and I seen the shit on the floor, it fucked me up, cause I would always see those little logs from inside of the
Guts.
from the guts everywhere.
All over the hood.
And I used to be like, oh, what tree is that? You know what I'm saying? Or some dumb little kid shit, you know what I'm saying? So I'm like, we roll the shit up, roll the sticks in it, seeds, everything, bro. The whole bag. You know what I'm saying?
All right, so our next clip is Maria Hinojosa. She's an NPR host, and she's a correspondent for CNN. This was a really interesting one to get. Shout out to David. He was the one that put us on to Maria Hinojosa. He's friends with her son, who actually works with her and gets a shout out in the actual podcast that we shoot. But it was cool to get her perspective on marijuana and having her come out of the weed closet. Because it's rare that you see somebody in such a spotlight and in such a respected position give light to cannabis and actually admit that they use cannabis. So this was one of our first times actually getting somebody from the news cycle or from the newsroom on our podcast to give us that blessing. So check that out.
I would smoke cigarettes every now and then. Like, ooh, it was gross. We would pick up the butts off the street. Ugh, what the fuck were we thinking? It's gross. I hadn't thought of this.
Crazy, yeah.
But they had boyfriends, you know. So now we're talking sixth grade. Sixth grade. We were little kids. I was 12. But the mother of, actually the mother of the triplets was nowhere to be seen. But the mother of the other girl, Stephanie, she was very hip. She was like a hippie. You know, she was white. Her compañero was black. Like, you know, they was very hippie-esque. And the neighborhood where I was growing up in Chicago was very hippie-esque. It was the University of Chicago community of Hyde Park. So very university-like, very bohemian. And so I would go to their house after school and we would, you know, just hang out and they would smoke cigarettes. And then one Friday night, we were having dinner and it was a bunch of 12-year-olds, 12 and 13-year-olds. And Stephanie's mother and her boyfriend, we sat in a circle and basically they passed around. Déjame pensar, ¿qué era? Oh my God, was it a pipe? I can't remember now if it was a pipe or if it was a joint. No, it was definitely not a bong. Definitely not. No. This is guys, I'm talking about 1973. So yeah, there were bongs because it was the 60s, but no, this was and it was a young mother basically getting high with her, not even teen. I mean, we were 12 and 13. So there's something cool about that, but there's also something like,
wow, she was wild. Yeah.
You know, kind of like, entonces lo que pasa is that I was not allowed to be sleepovers, not allowed to do sleepovers. Entonces mi papá me vino a buscar. It was always set, you know, at 9:00, I'm coming to get you. And so my dad came to get me when I was high as a 12-year-old. Oh, me da mucha pena.
Okay.
I felt so bad, you know, because I remember just feeling like my throat was I felt like I had a piece of coal in my throat. So I don't really think I got high, but I feel like I had the physical experience of something that happened. And I remember like something like feeling like a piece of coal, very hot. So something was burning in my throat. And I just remember sitting in the backseat thinking, if only dad knew, and kind of like,
paranoia.
I'm a bad Mexican girl. And make sure he doesn't notice. And, you know, so I didn't really experience anything. And then I went into high school and there I started hanging out with my brother, actually Jorge, and he was older. And all of his friends, they were all smoking pot. And so it was kind of around. So now I'm, you know, 13, 14 years old. Yeah. And it's kind of around me, but I never really enjoyed it. And the one time when I actually experienced getting high would have been maybe when I was at the end of my freshman year of high school. Y no me gustó para nada. I kind of freaked out, honestly. I had that freak out, which happens, which is just not the paranoia. It was the double spacing. And now I kind of, you know, I'm like, wow, that was.
They might have put something in your weed, girl, because that sound like some 70s trick. They put some PCP or some acid or something in that.
Oh shit! That you're scary.
I don't know, because that's what it sound like. It sound like they put something in your weed. You seen some spaces in 3D.
No, it wasn't hallucinogenic. It was more just like the head thing that happens when you get high, right?
Okay, yeah.
But I was
like
young,
and
so had head rush. So basically, I stayed away from it. I was very minimally connected to it. Siempre estaba a mi alrededor. People were always smoking. I'd take a toke. I do remember the first time I took a hit off a bong. That was unforgettable. Oh my God.
Unforgettable.
Oh my God. We were at a party at a university. It was the University of Chicago party, but we were high schoolers. Somehow we got into a college party, and somebody took out this thing that I had never seen before. It was like, it was so maybe 3.5, 4 feet. And I was like, ¿Qué es eso? And they were like, don't worry. Just put your mouth on it. And when we tell you to suck, you suck. And I was like, okay. Oh my God. But, I had experiences. It was really extraordinary. My head blew off. But I had experiences like seeing Peter Tosh performing on stage with a spleef, with a spleef this big. He was singing on stage with Mick Jagger and the Rolling Stones.
Crazy.
And then later, much, much later in my life, actually, that's what ends up happening is that my husband, who's an artist, a very well-known, famous Dominican artist named Germán Pérez, he was using cannabis as part of his, kind of work artistically. And that was when I actually began to enjoy it, because I never actually bought marijuana. Never. I mean, I was that's how little I smoked. I never, ever had it, bought it, para nada.
You were a social smoker whenever, you was in social setting or whatever.
Completely.
Right.
But after 9/11, that's when cannabis, I remember Germán said to me, I would smoke on the weekends. It was something that I would do only on the weekends. And Germán said, that's when I was suffering through very extreme PTSD, because I was a correspondent for CNN at the time. And that's when Germán said, ¿Quieres fumar? De repente te haría bien. Do you want to smoke? I remember it was maybe a week, and it was the middle of the week. And I was like, no, pero es que I have to go to work tomorrow. And he was like, yeah, but maybe. And I remember smoking and just like, whoa, wow, this is really helping me to take a pause from the horror, because I was a correspondent for CNN. And so I was seeing horror every single day. And that's when cannabis became much more a part of my life. And when, frankly, I'm really happy to be able to talk about the fact that it was self-medicating, because I wasn't going to take any kind of pharmaceutical pill, and I'm not a drinker. But it is the thing that did help me kind of process through PTSD. So yo le doy muchas gracias a la motita, como le decimos en México.
That's crazy. So
Now, one of my favorite clips to watch is usually when Lito Quirino comes through. He talks about music and how he starts up in music, but he also gives us a preview about Ramon and his past in the music business. Because most of y'all don't know, we might be doing this vibe culture thing right now, but we have deep reaches into the music industry. And Ramon helps out by putting his friend on. And it turns out his friend blows up, which is kind of dope. So to see how that neighborhood that we come from, Washington Heights, has birthed such talent, and to see that we are part of that talented group is kind of dope to see. So check out Lito Quirino and Vlad and Ramon chop it up about chilling in the hood and the first time they smoked.
Keep it 100.
When's the first time you got high, my G?
Alright, the first time I got high, Tally gonna be hyped, because it was with Tally. We was 15, nigga. 15, yeah. And he's like, yo, I had got high with my other man, Murphy, but I didn't know how to get high. So he like, yo, you're not inhaling.
Like most people.
I'm like, yo, fuck all that. I'm not even gonna smoke. Olvídate. We in a party, whatever. And Tally's like, yo, pull up to the hallway. We pull up. My other brother there, Speedy's there, and we just there. Speedy's rolling up. I'm like, yo, what y'all niggas smoking on? He like, oh, it's some Haraka. I'm like, all right, fuck it. At that time, Haraka to us was something regular, because we little kids. That shit is like what I'm smoking.
You gotta
on.
break it down to me. How old are you?
I'm 15 at that time.
Right,
we little
Haraka.
kids. Haraka. So imagínate. Ahora yo tengo 29.
Trash.
It's the trashes of the dirtiest of the dirtiest. But
It's that brick weed.
But
you
it's
guys
like
call it.
when
We all started with Haraka.
pero es cuando tú no tienes dinero y hay que comerse un pedazo de pan. Eso es lo más bacano que hay del mundo. So esa Haraka era lo mejor. We appreciated that Haraka. You feel me? We stepped out that party and smoked that with appreciation.
Absolutely. Happy as hell.
So Tally's like, yo, inhale. I started inhaling. Ya tú sabes. De ahí para allá comencé yo a I fumai. From there, nigga, we started, you know, we didn't understand the weed situation.
What was it, Lee, that first time? Was it a Philly, a Dutch, a White Owl?
It was
Bamboo?
a Dutch. It was a Dutch. I fuck with Phillies porque I didn't have to pass the blunt because son chiquito. Like, you just break it. You always almost fuck the shit up because the shit is not so big. But the Dutches is bigger, so tú lo rompes tranquilo. Es más bacano. El otro viene stale. Los Dutches no vienen tan stale. So I used to like smoking in Dutches. Phillies was like, I can't fuck with Phillies. Y los palos de las stems de la jaraca. That's breaking, that shit is breaking through walls, nigga. You gotta eat. Hey, corta la vaina. Clack, 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 clack. Niggas know. Yeah, shit was crazy.
So after that, you started smoking consistently after that?
No,
You fell off.
my mom was going in like, yo, what the fuck? I'm in the crib smoking where we rapping at because we used to freestyle. I'm talking about 48 hours, nigga. Niggas no see me. My mom don't know what top. Like, yo, pa foot, niggas ain't leaving. We in there booming, nigga. I had my little computer, my little two little bocinitas, and I had the goons in there. Yo, Tally, Blake, Young Jay, Dice Montana, the whole hood, nigga. Niggas, because niggas used to be on some music shit of the chiquito, bro. That shit is just, they already knew us for that. Like, oh, Taliban, see, el rapeo, vaina, he be neciando in the streets, Messia. Oh, he be singing, he be stopping niggas and singing to niggas. Me was the same thing. I had all the hoes, and I was, you know, shit was always prolific for your boy, man. You know what I'm saying? But it was always a weed thing.
So Young Lee, so when, like, you know, you say you started Boom 15, you know, you started with the Haraka, the Ari. When was it that you got introduced to the Haze and to the
was
high level?
17, you know.
How was that when you first got introduced to
Ya
that?
tu sabes, I was stuck for like an hour. I'm like,
Piff.
boom, yo, the Piff. The famous Piff. Yeah, niggas is like home of the Haze. I'm like, yo, what the fuck is that? He like, yo, in my block, niggas is smoking, you know, on the Haze. So I'm like, what y'all niggas smoking? Yo voy a comprar mi vainita de 5 pesos, que yo rolo dos blones durísimo. Niggas is like, nah, yeah, this is less weed, but it's a nice blunt. Yeah, fuck with it. Look, here's a dime. My son, no, nigga gave me a, you know what I'm saying? Then I ended up smoking this shit, and I was just stuck for man.
There's no turning back after that, right?
Nah, Haraka who, yeah? I was doing whatever for them $10. What? Where them $10 at? Ma, I need $30 right now because I gotta go to the pool, que esto, que vainita, que piel, que una vaina. La cotorra.
So what you think, Lee, as far as like you know, being an artist, being a creative, what role do you think weed played when you creating all this magical music as far as like getting you creative and getting you in that zone?
Is that peaceful space, bro? Like that shit get your nerves relaxed, bro. Like you just be chilling. You be able to think like más tranquilo y sin estar dándole mente a problema ni nada. It really takes everything off your head. It's a cloud of smoke, bro. It you know, it clutters your whole shit. You can't see, really. Your mind is like, tú no puedes, it's like, no hay problema, no hay nada. That shit just blanks. So if you're doing music, all you can see is that. You connecting with that. And nothing that can fuck you up while you smoking and doing music. Tú te entregado, nigga. This really plays everything. Like, niggas that smoke, no lo que no fuman, because the people that don't smoke be like, nah, but you know the tobacco, but the paper, and they, you know, find all types of shit. They right. We should be smoking it in tubes and shit, but I can't fuck with that. I be feeling like that's some crackhead shit, like all that tubes, pipe shit. Like, I can't. I'm good, bro. I see crackheads doing that. It's not trying to play that.
And the glass bowls and the glass bowls.
I be thinking like I'm gonna turn to a crackhead with the time. I'm like, yo,
it's not a New York thing, my nigga.
It's not. There you
It's
go.
not a
It's
New York
not a
thing.
New York thing.
It's
We
not.
with the blunts.
Somebody asked me the other day, they're like, yo, what's up? Do you hear a lot of people smoking shadow wax? I said, not really, because it's just doesn't really fit the New York culture as much. There's a small amount of people that do it, but it's not, it's never caught
And
a
my
real
boys,
fire.
let me tell you, some, you know, de los panas de uno, yo, let's fuck. Yeah, but that shit is like, we be looking at niggas like, nah, yeah, I'm gonna roll me this super bat, and I'm gonna holla at you.
Like, I'm not gonna, like, you know, if you got a bong, I'm gonna hit the bong, you know what I mean? I'm gonna hit it. But at the end of the day, I'm definitely rolling my blunt.
There's a couple niggas in New York that's fucking with that. They got a lot of bong shit over
People
here.
got bongs at home.
Yeah,
People
niggas
got
fucking
their
with
glass pipes.
It's really clean though, bro.
Nigga, this is what we like.
But we like that. Ese cancel, yeah. Eso es lo que es, yeah. Cancel entertainment, you're no cat.
Now, for this interview, we got some help from our friend Black Rose. She's an amazing sketch comedian. She helps out with a bunch of the stuff for Happy Monkey, whether it's writing for our magazine or shooting content for our YouTube channel. But for today, she actually helped us interview Biscuit, and she helped us dissect Uncle Biscuit and what it takes to make a sketch like that, and what the fans are looking for when they see It's Biscuit, and how his popularity has grown because of the sketch comedy, and how it's helped him accelerate his music, because he's an amazing musician out of Strong Island. So please go check him out.
Another label situation to really like showcase it, because it's so many, and not just like the trap, the drill, like everything, like and good. You know what I'm saying? I got my man's out there, Option 2 Baby, and he's like, he sound more than Young Thug. You know what I mean? And it's fire though. Like, it's so fire that I know Thugger will fuck with it. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, you know what I mean? When he come home, we got to get situated. Top Flexer. It's just, man, Long Island got so much shit popping. It's like, it's just crazy, bro. And
Shout
then
out
like
to Long Island.
Uncle Biz is kicking in the door.
Uncle Biz is kicking in the door.
Shit is crazy, man.
Let me
You
ask
kick in
you.
the door with, I'm sorry, my bad, them Tims with
The open
rib.
toes.
That's what I was gonna ask you right now. How tell me how it started for you to become a fashion icon, man. Tell me that story. How did that start coming about?
I mean,
That became a thing.
you know, with the Uncle Biz character, I had to like really, like, it got to the point where I would go even all the way to LA. I'm in LA and I'm bumping into people and they're like, "Where's Uncle Biz?" And that shit started getting so annoying. Like, if I'm out, like right now, I mean, I got a decent sized hoodie on, ain't nothing crazy, and you know, but this isn't Uncle Biz fit at all. So it's like anytime I'm out as Uncle Biz, it's like they love it. And then when I'm on my Balenciaga Biz shit or whatever, they looking, they like, where's Uncle?
that ain't
I'm
it.
like, you know what? All right, I got y'all. Do-rag, fitted, gazelles,
And
going
we out
crazy.
here, yeah.
So it's like, after a while, you know how Instagram is, you could wear a fit maybe twice. So I'm like, damn, now I gotta really shop for Uncle Biz. That's what me and my mans used to do.
That's a whole different.
Yeah, I legit got a whole crib just with clothes in it. Like, you know what I mean? You know I'm washed. You know I got the kids. I ain't got no room for no 2X Pele's and every color Tims. Like, I got a whole I'm telling you, I'm gonna put that on Instagram.
Come on,
like,
brother, you see me. I'm
gonna show
You
Uncle
should
Biz's
do.
closet. Like,
Yeah,
Biz,
like-
I'm an OG too, beef and broccoli.
I
What
see.
you talking
Nah,
about,
real
my
recognized
nigga?
real. Nah, that's real classic shit right there. That's real classic shit, man.
You should do like a MTV's crib thing
I'm gonna do that.
for your closet.
For the Tims
Nah, it's real, man.
and the baggy hoodies.
I love New York. I love where I'm from. You know what I mean? And even when I'm out of town, I wear Timbs in Miami. You feel me? Like, and it just feels right.
That's part of the whole thing of why we felt like we was gonna make an impact with HappyMunkey, because like I told you earlier, like we saw all these images only, like you Google cannabis images and all you see is like hippies on skateboards, surfboards, whatever. We like, yo, but in New York, you know what I mean? Me and Mo talking about like, you know, it's Timbs, people in suits, hoodies, the basement, the car ride, the rooftop. Like,
you know
that's the way people smoke in New York. Ain't no beach, ain't no surfboards.
We ain't got
So
no
like we
drop
had
top
to
6 photos
highlight the way that the people consume cannabis in New York. You know what I mean? Like you said, the culture here is totally different. We do everything different.
Facts. New York is different, man. And New York is so popping right now, like on the music side. Like, we always was good, but like, yo, Pop Smoke, rest in peace. And that was, yo,
he brought a wave,
I'm outside every night. When I hear his music, I be like happy and then sad at the same time, bro. It's kind of like bring me back to like when I lost my man Chinks, because it's just like, damn, like
Too soon,
I already,
right?
yeah, way too soon. I already know what that kid was doing. He literally came to Long Island and he was in my studio for hours just kicking it, and it was like, it just was so good to chop it up with him, and I gave him his flowers even then, because I'm just like, yo, bro, you the hottest nigga out right now, bro. Like, nobody could. Like, bro, you, like, this shit is lit right now. Everybody is dancing. Like, everything is going
Captured
crazy.
everyone with that voice.
Like, yo, bro, you, and he was just like, yo, fuck with me. I'm about to go on tour, da-da-da. Like, I'm like, nah, definitely. I'm like, yo, I'm going to definitely fuck with you. Like, we was really building, you feel me? Like,
That's crazy.
and then to wake up to that, I'm just like, nah. So, you know, it's like, you know, New York is, like, on fire, and he's, like, one of, like, the main reasons why, again, like, he brought the spotlight back to the...
So in this clip, we got Jessica Gonzalez, who is the Can Abogada out from Jersey. She's been helping write legislation in New Jersey for the recently passed cannabis bill. But this clip, she shows us some of the history as to why communities of color have been marginalized when it comes to making money in this green rush. She also talks about some of the problems that we face with social equity and what that truly means and how state by state that differs. So this was one of those clips that have definitely stayed with me because it shows me that not only is it a business, but it's a business that has tried to exclude those marginalized communities that have been so heavily impacted by the war on drugs. And she gives some light as to how we might be able to overcome that. So please check it out.
We hear this term thrown a lot, and me and Ramon have our own opinions, but it's not about us today, it's about you. And we want to know, we hear this term social equity in the cannabis industry being thrown around so loosely. So I want to know what your opinion is on what's been done and what do you think can be done better or not, etc.
Yeah, sure. So social equity is one of the kind of more trickier and more sensitive topics, right, in cannabis, because it just, everything relates to the history of cannabis that a lot of people don't know about, right? So if you don't know about the history of cannabis, it's hard to explain to you what the social equity aspect of it is, right? Which I think why it's always important to talk about. It's really racist history. But in terms of social equity, the way that I look at it is just giving people resources to be able to go after the same opportunities if they wanted to that were taken from them, right? And that's how I look at it. And so when we think of social equity in cannabis, right, it's like we don't want entry-level positions, right? We don't want those types of jobs. Like people want ownership. People want to they want to be able to really reap the benefits that pretty much all, white owners have, have been doing. And that's just a fact, right? Because in 2017, I think the statistic was 81% of owners in the cannabis space are white. Yeah. Right. So but then when you flip those statistics around of who are the majority who are incarcerated on a disproportionate basis, right? It's always black and brown people. Absolutely. And so you can't take from an industry that you built really off the backs of black people and Latino people and then not give them either, a full entryway to be able to go in. And it's not just a piece and it's not just set-asides, but it's resources, right? Because if somebody was incarcerated for cannabis, right, and they have a record, now you have a barrier to education, you have a barrier to housing, you have a barrier to a job. So that affects not only one person, but it's generational. So sometimes I think it's hard to look at okay, maybe it was your grandfather or whatever and stuff like that, but that still affected your life, right? And so with social equity, you got to give folks resources. So when I talk about resources, I talk about education, right? I talk about certain incubator programs fixed in a certain way. I know there's certain issues with them, but there's ways. But grants from the state, I'm putting all the responsibility on the state. Because all the states were the ones who actively participated in the criminalization of cannabis. Actively, right? And we're, in New York, right, which typically ranks in the top 3 states, along with New Jersey, the other one being Texas, for the highest cannabis arrest rates, right? So New Jersey spent $143 million. 96 people a day get arrested for cannabis. What a complete waste of judicial resources, right? And so now you think about that, you think about, expungements have to be a part of it, right? But people got to be released as well, right? But now when they're out, you can't just be all right, we let you out, you're good. Now, if they want to enter the industry, and I'm not saying everybody's going to want to enter the industry, but there needs to be some sort of assistance, right, and technical assistance, access to professional services, right, legal services, accounting services. Imagine probably how many companies haven't been able to make it because they can't afford, a lawyer or an accountant or stuff like that. So that's kind of where I'm at with that.
What do you think as far as these programs that they've had in some of these states? That how do you think they've worked or not as far as social equity programs?
So I think also the hard part about talking about social equity is there hasn't been enough time to even assess the success of multiple of them, right? It hasn't been that long. If anything, it's been maybe 3, maybe 5 years. But all of these states who started to enact various medical programs, social equity was not a part of that, right? Social equity was not a conversation at all. Colorado, the first state to legalize cannabis, just came out with a social equity, bill and enacted it into law. I believe a month or two ago, right? So the conversations haven't been around long enough, but now it's active, and now it's a central part, right? Like now legislation can't be passed without it.
Yeah,
because
now it's
folks,
like-
because
yeah.
now people are, getting kind of, they're understanding now what is happening. They're seeing the money that's being made, and they're wondering, well, why are we not a part of it? And now when you look at what applications are and what they cost and what they entail to even do it, that's extremely prohibitive, in itself. So, but there are certain policies that I do like that I have seen, right? Like Massachusetts, for example, has a 2-year window for social equity applicants to get delivery licenses. So for those 2 years, if you're not a social equity applicant, you're not getting a delivery license, right? And delivery licenses are where it's at. Like that's where it's at. So I'm happy with like that type of policy, right? That really gives them, some time. And I think right now they're lobbying for 3 to 4 years because it takes a long time to get things up and running. But if you look, Oakland had an incubator program. Oakland did a 1-on-1 ratio where if it was, one, kind of applicant and then or non-social equity applicant, then you had to give a social equity applicant. So 1 and 1, all the time. But I've talked to folks from across the state who've gone through various social equity programs. But the concerns are always the same, right? We don't have access to professional services. The technical assistance is trash. A lot of these grants and this money that should have been
I've heard some horror stories about in some of the programs where these big corporate predatory companies use somebody as a face to get the license, and then put them in this awkward position. You don't have funding to keep up this type of operation, et cetera, and then they just end up being a name on the paperwork and basically got used just to get this social equity license. And I've heard stories like that.
Now, I wanted to end off the podcast with somebody that was dropping gems the whole entire interview. Not that the other guests didn't, but this one had more of a cultural touch to it. And it touched my heart personally to see Freeway Rick Ross actually in front of me and to be in the interview room, and him to talk about the perspective of what are the right questions to ask, and how if he had asked the right questions, maybe his life had been different. But because of that, it had led him to a life of changing and helping people's lives in his community. And the way he's doing it is through cannabis. So I want to end off in the best way I can, and I think Ricky Ross is going to say it best.
And all you had to do was ask, what do you do for work? And that could have changed everything for you.
Could have changed everything. But I wasn't smart enough to ask those kind of questions.
That's why they say luck is when preparation meets opportunity. You wasn't ready, man. You ready now, though?
I should have been ready, though.
Shoulda.
We have a responsibility to ourselves, to our families, to get ready as soon as you can. And to say that you're not ready should be insulting to yourself.
Insulting.
Who would tell themselves that they're not ready and don't get ready when you know you should be ready?
Should be ready.
Now, if you don't know you should be ready, you can't get ready because you don't know you should be. But once a man becomes conscious of the situation, he's supposed to make a change. We're not supposed to stay the same if it's not right.
That's why you got to evolve. Evolution.
You got to evolve. If you don't evolve, you start to die.
That's the truth.
And me, I don't want to die. I don't want to see what heaven's like.
We good right here.
I'm good right here. Leave me here as long as I used to tell my mama, Mama, don't pray for me to go to heaven. Pray for me to live.
A lot of people out there not going to understand that, but we 1,000% do.
Yeah, man, come on, man. I'm going to live, man. I'm going to have me some fun. You can be mad if you want to. Sad if you want to. I ain't going for it. I'm going to have me some fun.
That's the only thing we take with us, man, is memories and experiences. Everything else is disposable.
Enjoy life, man. It's short.
So many people worried about the past and the future. They never enjoy the present.
Yeah, I don't worry about the past. I always look to the future. People ask me, man, what happened? I met you yesterday there. I said, man, that was like a month ago. Because I'm looking up in the future.
Yeah.
You know, I'm trying to see what's coming. I don't want to know what we already passed. We got over it.
Keep looking back, you're going to trip going forward.
I'm going forward. I'm charging on.
I want to touch base on your author career. Tell us a little bit about the books you've written, so the people out there can know
They don't
if
want
they
to
want.
read my
If they want
books,
to,
man.
yes, they do.
They don't wanna
Give
read
them
my
an
books.
opportunity to.
Oprah Winfrey ain't told him to read my book.
But Happy Monkey and Vladimir Ramon is telling them to read it.
I know you love me, man. Listen, I know you love me.
Of course.
I know you love me. And I ain't trying to disrespect your folks, because them is your peeps. But they ain't going to read my book until Oprah tell them to.
Until Oprah? I don't know,
I'm
man.
telling you, they're not going to do it, man.
You got to give them a...
They're not going to do it. I told Vlad, look,
you gotta give him
I
a fair
told
chance.
Vlad, and not only did his people not read it, but he didn't read it. I go back to him and we talking. I say, Vlad, you ain't read the book, man. I say, man, stop it.
Stop the bullshit.
Stop the bullshit. Don't bullshit me. Listen, I ain't gonna never bullshit with you.
Mm-hmm.
If I tell you something is wrong, it was a mistake. And then I'll be the first one to say, look, man, damn, man, I fucked up. Do what you got to do. I fucked up. But I didn't try to. You can honestly believe that I didn't try to fuck up. It was because I was a dummy and made a mistake.
None of us are infallible. We all make mistakes.
But that's how I roll, though. That's how I want to get down. That's the man I want to be. That one. That when he say something, you can count on it. You can believe what he said.
Far and few in between nowadays. So that's a.
Well, we got to change that culture, though.
Yes.
We got to change that. That don't work.
We got to stop telling
With
people
fake-
to fake it till they make it, right?
Sure, come on, man.
That's a bad analogy people put out there.
Man, you know, we the kid game, though.
What's good, everybody? This is your nigga Ralph, trying to keep you fresh with the info from Happy Monkey every single podcast. You already know what it is. If you haven't followed us yet, follow us on Instagram at HappyMunkey_ or Happy Monkey Goodies. Now remember, that's monkey with a U. Also, if you haven't checked us out, we're on YouTube. So check out our channel, Happy Monkey TV. Keep us current, live, and everything with the culture.